the expectation is that everyone should attend the meetings, right? Because when people have to come and catch up, then
Now I was talking because you said you were struggling to get in and the connection was bad. Yeah.
No, that's a very fair point. Yeah. For those that struggling to join and connection not permitting them. Yeah. Okay. No, thanks for that, Shay Jobe. Really thinking for the team as well. Right. So yeah, I was just saying, if anyone wants to come in, or just how has it been going? Because it's key. We're just having a small chat before we start at 5, 2 more minutes. How has been going reviewing the material and the technology so far?
Personally, what I did was there were, I think, 5 videos under our project. I did take time to watch all those videos. That kind of gave me an overview of the entire project and what is expected to be done. Some terminology, the relationship between the various services that would run the application that will be deployed and all of that.
Okay. No, that's a very good start, at least having something to start with. Hello, Akko. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Great.
Good evening.
Greetings, everyone. Yeah.
We'll be starting soon. Just chatting on what was expected for last week. Any other person wants to come in? What have you been doing in preparation to get started?
Good evening, all. Veronica here. So what I did was I kind of like Shane Jobe mentioned, I also reviewed, but not for all. I haven't done all the videos. I've done till the 3rd one, but I'm more or less reading because there is a script of that one also, like step by step of what one can do. Sometimes I must tell you, sometimes Adrian's voice just drains me a bit. So I did watch video 1, but for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I think I just read the text form of it. So yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. At least that's doing something to get started. Yeah. All right. It's 5 past, so we'll start with the meeting of today. I'll just give a recap and of why the plan was that the groups were going to be meeting on their own, but then this meeting came up due to the presentation we had on Saturday, which Barry presented on an introduction to Scrum, and since it's for projects like this, and we are very happy to have Barry because he did volunteer to be a Scrum Master and help drive the Scrum mindset into the project. So yeah, she volunteered to be the Scrum Master for both projects, and basically, so she's coming with the knowledge she has as a certified Scrum, certified in Scrum. Is it Scrum? What's it? The Scrum word? Barry, help me out here. Certified Scrum.
Professional Scrum Master.
Professional Scrum Master. Thank you. So yeah, so it's a great opportunity to have. That makes and actually it's just so amazing. After that presentation, there's a course I'm currently doing at work, architectural thinking. I posted that, and then we had 2 or 3 slides, and it was just almost on what Barry had. I mean, she gave us more, so I was just looking at the slide and just smiling. So just confirming that that's the kind of mindset that happens in the real workplace. So I've been having that training. It's a much more bigger course, started last week, and I've been going through it again this week. So it's then an opportunity here to see the importance of that presentation on Saturday, and then the importance of us bringing that into this project. Basically, the technical aspect of the project remain the same, but then the way in which it's carried is definitely then going to be brought in, in a Scrum mindset, and Barry is here to help drive that mindset in both projects. So that's just an overall reason why we're having that meeting here. So what I'm going to say is I already shared both projects to Barry. We just had a small chat on it. But for a start, we'll try as much as possible and make this meeting 45 minutes, right? So, but for a start, I don't know, Barry, if you have something already, I mean, that you want to definitely, you want to bring in, and then maybe just have a standing discussion, and then we'll hear from, and then if there are questions, they can come up, and then we can proceed. I know there are, a few things, that you definitely have in mind. So please feel free to come in.
Definitely, Ban. Good evening, everybody. It's an opportunity for me to be here, to be honest. What basically I've gathered from the few people that have spoken, you have like projects and you've written all the documentation down, and the videos that everyone is supposed to watch and see what the project is all about. Basically, the Scrum way, you don't have to understand all of the project at the beginning. So we get to understand the bits that we're going to be producing as we go along, because it can change, except your projects are different. Even if it can't, we can still go the Scrum way by making sure that we break down the whole chunk of the project into smaller pieces, where we can actually realize those smaller pieces along within a time box, depending on how we, on our capacity, on our expertise, and on our experiences. So I did look at what Ban shared with me, but it was too technical for me. I couldn't understand. But I hope that along the way, we'll get to understand how we can go around it. I have here with me my Scrum board, my Jira board. Permit me to share my screen, please.
Sure, I think you can. Please go ahead.
All right.
Not let me know.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, at least I can see, yeah.
All right. So here is the Jira board where we have our projects. For now, I just have a sample project that my friends and I were supposed to work on, but we haven't. And if you come here, we don't have anything here yet. So if you have like the smaller chunks that I was talking about, we write them on here, and then we can, this is so empty. But once we have issues written here, we can have an overview of what the project is going to look like. We have the roadmap, which is what we expect and how long we expect to realize the project. If it's a 3-month project and we start now, we can finish it maybe in September, if I'm correct. And then we have a backlog. So a backlog will basically be everything that we need to do for the project. It could mean those small increments I was talking about broken down in various forms. And then it could still be that we divide them into components. Mine is so empty, sorry guys.
Quite understanding, yeah.
Yeah, it could mean that we divide them into components, and these components we give ourselves a month or 2 or 3 months so that we can finish them. And then at the end of it all, we'll be able to have reports from all the sprints that we've had. These are what our reports will look like. This one will show how much work we were able to achieve and how much is remaining. This report, actually, you can be able to see it as long as the work is progressing. Same with this one. I will not want to bother us about these other ones. But basically, this is what the Scrum board will look like.
Right.
So it all depends on what we are going to be working on, and how everybody is comfortable with having to log in what they have done each day or each week, depending on how or what time we are going to dedicate to do the project.
So if I understand very well, you are going to have all the members added. Let's say, because on that Jira, you can create a project. So we have 2 projects now. So you call a project, say the serverless project, then all the members from the serverless project you add on that board, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you can be able to see what another member is working on from the board. And anybody who is interested in, as far as I give them permission to view what is on the board, they can see it. So I'll share again.
Yeah, please.
So they can just, and then here we have the Confluence. So, yeah. We have the Confluence, and here we can have all the
meeting notes, or what's that?
Yes, meeting
articles.
Articles, the templates, all the templates that we can use alongside the project, we can have them here on.
All right. So for example, like we've had some articles that are related to the project, architectural diagram. We are saying like we can upload them to the conference for people who need that, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think maybe just to make it much more come to life, let's first. I'm just thinking that I know what we had was technical, but I can say, let's say if we try to give, let's say just create a project called site to site, right? Let's be talking about that, because the key things that, if and correct me here if I'm wrong, that I understand is, once we have that project, then we first of all have to understand the entire team, right? We have the product owner, we have the developer team, and then the Scrum Master, which is of course you. And then I think, just for clarity, everyone is in the developer team, right? Because everyone takes ownership.
Yes.
Yeah, just to make sure I understand. Let's try to understand that setup. So everyone, because I did also in our training, I did receive this. Let me just, and then we can then go ahead and just maybe add some information on one project. And then I think in that way, once, I think it will be much more clearer. And then if there are more questions or clarity on how the structure can be, I think we'll learn that. But before that, I just wanted to share this picture. I hope it comes up. Yeah, this picture that just reflect what we are talking about. And
yeah, while you're looking for the picture, Pressy, if I can come in a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So in the Scrum team, we have the product owner, the developers, and then the Scrum Master. All of them are part of the team. What the product owner does basically is, he is the one that gives the information that the project needs. For example, what Uncle Ban shared to you people in the documents, those are the kind of information that the product owner will be bringing to the team. And then, as a matter of, because when he brings all of this, it comes in a way of what users of that project are going to be expecting. It doesn't come in a technical language, but like I understand, your own is already in a very technical language for everybody else to understand. So what happens is, when he brings it, when he brings all of those, it comes up in the product backlog.
Right.
In the product backlog here. Because the developers cannot work on all of these items on the product backlog, they have to prioritize it during the sprint and select the very most important product backlog items that they want to work on during that sprint. And then they will have a sprint goal from there. A sprint goal now will be, depending on what the team decides, it will be a 2 weeks, a 3 weeks, a 1 week, or a 4-week sprint. And then during this sprint, every day, they will be having a 15-minute meeting to tell each other what they did yesterday, what they are going to be doing today, and if they are facing any difficulties to progress with their work. If they face difficulties, what is going to happen is that the Scrum Master can suggest how he thinks that they could solve the problem, or the other development team members can suggest how they can assist the other person who is facing difficulties.
Great. Thanks, Barry. And I think this picture captures what we are saying, right? This
Yes.
picture, right? Not so we have that Scrum team. So we have the product backlog, the sprint backlog. Thanks so much for that. So what I was about to say is, so based on that, if we, for example, look at this project, right? So if we were to create the site-to-site VPN, the good thing is we already have, to a certain extent, the product backlog. So these are the things that needs to be done. That's what I stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. These are the list of tasks that have to be done. So now it will be now the teams, and I think it's just since it's in stages, what is going to happen? The different teams are going to take, let's say, stage 1 and take maybe move it. So these also appear in priority form, because you cannot do stage 2 if you have not done 1. So this is more of like, let's say, more simplified, right? Because in a normal project, you still have to collect them and then before you prioritize, right? But here we already have it. So that's what I was saying, that maybe in your Jira, this thing, if you create one sample project, and then all of this will then go to the product backlog, and then in the sprint backlog, we'll start with this one as priority. And then what will then happen is, now for the teams now, I think what's key now is for the teams now to be providing those updates. I know it says daily, but I think depending on the schedule, I think it's just that because since this is we have the consideration that other people are busy with other things, and maybe daily may be difficult. But I don't know what the suggestions could be, maybe after every 2 or 3 days. But the key thing is that we shouldn't stretch it for so long that it gets too quiet, or we shouldn't do it so often that it becomes strenuous. That is what the kind of trade-off we have to figure out here, Barry. Yeah.
Yes, if I can ask, with this provision, the environment, right, the stage 1, can it be divided into subtasks where each developer is working on one particular stuff?
That's a good question. I think, let me see. No, I think, let me see.
No, I don't think it will be possible in this setup to really have it in that kind of framework, Barry, because for me, I don't know how it fits into the Scrum way of doing things.
Yes.
Like the 5 members in the team who are developers, for example, in our case here, they will need to go through stage 1, all the stages. You do have stage 1, A, B, and C, or A, B, but again, if you cannot go to stage B when you've not done A. So I'm not sure from the way I looked at it, at least for the serverless one, you cannot go to A to B when you've not done A, or someone is doing A and another one is doing B.
Yeah, that's another opportunity. I think the other challenge also is we need to use the same account. So yeah, I think that we can just I think what the teams can do is try to handle it in a way that each and everyone do something. So let's say even if it's the same account, right? So maybe if an account is agreed on, then what can happen is someone can do stage 1A, and then once that is completed and finished and everyone looks at it and is satisfied, then there's someone else doing stage 1B. And then once that is finished and complete and everyone is able to understand why it is the way it is, then maybe, then that is already complete, right? So, so maybe an account can be agreed on that will be used, and then maybe an admin can be created for anyone that has to work on that account. And then so it would not necessarily, so it's stage 1 is split into different parts, but they cannot be done independently. It's kind of serial. So one has to be finished, then the second one has to go. I don't know if any other comments or suggestion on how this can go from the people who are going to be doing the technical part anyway.
Please, I would like to know as much as possible from your comments so that I can make like adjustments to how it can be able to work. Because what I understand is if you are going to be developers, you really need to know or have an experience the Scrum way. It will not be perfect because we are not having like an ideal project that can go into a Scrum atmosphere. But if you're going to be developers in any organization, maybe the AWS itself, I have an Apple and all of those big companies, you will need an experience with using Scrum and other agile methodologies. So if I can have as many as possible, we'll understand how we can put it. But for what I am understanding at the moment, we can take stage 1A to be one issue. And when it is done, when we are finished working on it and everybody agrees that it is done, we can move it to done, because we have the workflow in Jira. It comes like the things that we need to do, it is already in progress when someone has started working on it, and then when they finish, it will be done. So, and then the next stage will now be maybe Sprint 2, where the next person will start working on something, it will go to in progress, and then it gets to done. But then we'll need to have an agreement of what a definition of done means, of what completed stage A means. It could mean that the whole team has agreed that from what we have experienced, from what we have seen, it is completed work.
So, question, Barry. So if, for example, there are 5 people in a team, yeah, as developers, so we have stage A, could it also be structured in a way that everyone, they will do the stage A, 1A, for example, and then they indicate that it's done? Because I think the raison d'etre at the end of the day is that people should get their hands wet. So if we are 5 of us and we agree that we are all going to do stage 1A, and we give a time frame and say in 1 week we do stage 1A, everyone should be done by then. So is it something that can also be worked out that way, rather than saying someone does 1A, the other one does 1B or 1C? Because again, it's in a chronological way, and the understanding is that you start from A to B to C, for example. You get my point?
Yes, I understand your point. And my worry in this, with your point, will be that everybody has to use the same account, if I'm not mistaken, Nkuba. Everybody will use the same account.
Right. So so I think it's almost it's all what Vero is saying is right? But the other side of it is that you cannot be using the same account. And this is what I mean here. So this is to integrate what Vero is saying is, if we say we are doing stage 1A, yeah, everyone can do it on their own individual accounts, right? Yeah. So the members can do it on their own individual accounts, but there will be one main account where one person will be designated as the person who will do it on that one main account. So one account will be used that will be used for reporting the entire project, right? So that one person will be designated as the person in charge of 1A. Every other person will try to work it on their 1A. And that's what I also mean, that at the end, when everyone is comfortable, so when the person who is supposed to present stage 1A is presenting it, then there's the opportunity for those who maybe were not, who had problems in dealing with their, in working with 1A, they can now come in and also indicate where they have a problem. But the done, yeah, so one person, let me answer the question of how that can handle. So one person, there will be one account where the whole project will be done. One person will take 1A to implement it on 1A. but then every other person can be doing it on their own accounts for practice purposes, because that's the reason why we're saying everyone should get in. So it's not just sitting and waiting that it could be explained. So then another person would then be designated as the person for 1B, right? So everyone again still go back and is doing on their individual accounts, but there's going to be one person who will come in and configure it in the main account for 1B. Yeah, so that is the way I will bring those two together. Yeah.
Oh, that is an amazing point. And in that case, in that way, everybody will have what to say when it comes to the daily stand-up. It
Yes.
could be 2 days, 3 days after, but it will mean that all of us will be working on 1A, but one person is going to report on 1A.
Yeah.
On the main account. So when we come, we can be able to say the difficulties that we were facing while working on 1A. And somebody can really opt to assist. And then I really would appreciate if we can share our screens when we are working, when we have those meetings, so we can see where your difficulty is and where another person can actually assist you.
Good input. I think, yeah, what about others? Please come in.
I think the experience which has just been described is exactly it. I mean, this whole project all flow in a chronological order. So I think if we're using the analogy which Colette was talking about, it then goes in a very much a waterfall progress. I think from the perspective in that, in this case, we're not actually designing or developing software. So really, whereby you can break up the software aspect into different chunks, whereby, you know, in the end, you are more or less interested in the inputs and the outputs, what they deliver, which you can just ensure that you can start working on different parts separately. I think in this case, it's just exactly as Ban and Vero have mentioned. And I think for us, I think the main thing will just be gaining familiarity with this type of methodology and this type of process. Although for all intents and purposes, we'll still be following some kind of like a Prince methodology, which is kind of like the standard kind of like project methodology going forward in a lot of cases. So that's my only comment there. So it's not too dissimilar to what has already been said. I think looking at the site-to-site VPN, for example, which is what we're on, I think there are very, very limited instances. There are some things which could be created separately, but again, in order for if at all there are people who are designated to be responsible for that a particular part there, they would need confirmation from the preceding part in order to make sure that their section is fully functioning. And I think the other instance I'll have to say here is that there's no way of actually testing whether your section actually works independently until you get right to the end and then start doing the testing. So that's another, I don't know what I'll call that, a limitation, but I think that's an observation anyway, which I find. So I think in our case, unless, you know, there are some sections like when we do the VPN, for example, if we're doing the VPN connectivity from on-premise to premise, where we can test connectivity, be it by, you know, a ping or a trace route at some stage. And then at a later stage, when we have more information, we can expand that into different areas. But I think it's very much, we're doing a standard chronological order of things here.
That's it really just builds from stage one.
Aqua did highlight was the fact that you cannot really, even if you were doing it far ahead, you cannot test it. You cannot test what you have done except we go to the end. So it will be difficult to have what you are bringing up, Barry, that that concept of done. So that's why we have to go chronologically. We start with 1A, we start with 1, we go to 1A, 1B. So the suggestion could be that we start with, if each group start with stage 1, they have 1A, they have 1B. So someone takes 1A, someone takes 1B, definitely not in the main account. That is still, I think that's, I'm just trying to ensure that if everyone agrees on that, because and the teams, and then the other small difficulties will then be defined by the individual teams. So if someone does 1A, someone does 1B, then coming to stage 2, if you have not yet done anything, you can then move to do 2A and then 2B. And that kind of rotation goes until everyone completes it, right? And but then, as we have said, everyone keeps doing what they have to do, right? Despite the fact that one person is designated to do in the main account, the others continue to do it individually. And then which confirms what Barry was saying, that so that when they come to the sprint and they are talking, maybe if it's after 2 days, everyone will have something to say, right? Because if you are doing 1A and they come for the sprint and they are discussing what is happening, if you have been doing it, you will definitely contribute. I mean, I'm just trying to see that if we all agree on that, because if we all agree on that, then at least we have an understanding of how it's going to flow, and then Barry can then know how she's going to structure this.
Yeah, go ahead.
This main account that one should work on, is it whose account then?
That is something we can address later. We'll have one.
We can address that at the level of our individual groups, right?
Yes, that can be addressed later. But the whole point is,
Yeah. So I have a question. Like, you are still on this main account. This account is somebody's account on somebody's computer, right? And if one person is designated for A, like stage A, and then the next person for stage B, everything is going to be on the main account. And who is going to do it? Is it still going to be the person who owns that account, or how is this B going to do it on that person's account?
Right. The key thing is AWS, you have an AWS account, right? We are going to be working on AWS account. So if they decide that one account is going to be, so one AWS account is going to be the main account. So in the main account, you can create different administrators, right? People with privileges to exit. So if you create stage 1, the person for stage 1 owns admin 1, for example, with privileges to execute that. But then, so now it will be you when you are ready. So you can still have your own private AWS account where you can execute stage 1A. And when you are comfortable, then you move into the main account, because that's what you always experience will work. You have the staging or pre-production and production. So when you finish in your, let's say you execute in your private account, you make sure that you see that you have understood it is running very well, you are comfortable. Then now on the main account that they have agreed on, you log in now with the privileges and run that. And then when you are presenting done now, then you are able to explain to everyone how it's running, and if everyone have questions, they will do it. I don't know if I answered that. Well.
Yeah, it's answered. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ako, I do understand that this is somewhat a purely waterfall method of kind of a project. But my concern is this: you will not all be working on waterfall projects from if you get jobs and if you have other projects that you can work on. So I just hope that we will be able to grasp this opportunity to see how work is being developed in the Scrum and Agile methodology. So it is going to be a bit different, and that's why Scrum is flexible. You don't just have to do the way the book is. There's no one-size-fits-all strategy with Scrum. It depends on how your project is, so we can always work around your project. We can always fine-tune what Scrum is to fit your basic requirements. So the thing for me would be, how do we make this, how do we make this, how do we get experience from this seemingly waterfall project? How do we get the Scrum and Agile experience from this seemingly waterfall project? And that's what we were going to do. That's what we are agreeing. I don't know if we have agreed yet, that we are going to be working on individually. In a Scrum way, these individual tasks will all be on the product backlog or on a sprint backlog. And then everybody will be reporting on their projects as they are going along and as they are working along. But now we might not have the work platform where everybody else can report on one account. But because you are going to need that experience and that expertise to practice on your own site, we will be looking at who has done the real thing. And if you have done it on the designated account, is everyone else comfortable with doing that particular work? And if everybody is comfortable, can we then move to the next stage? That will be like the first sprint. We're finished with the first sprint. And by then we can know what is done at that level. The definition of done at that level will be that everybody else has done it and everybody else is comfortable and what we have done is correct. Thank you.
I fully understand that and I agree. I don't know if anyone is having a question on that or on the understanding.
I think the way this project is, that would be the only feasible approach to integrating Scrum with it, because like you said, it is seemingly a waterfall type of project. There's no other methodology that will work with it. You know, we are not using infrastructure as code. Maybe that would have been different. So I think understandably, that is where we are, and that's where we should start working from, and then see how we progress.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, go ahead, Kwako.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a good opportunity for us to see how, you know, this agile or Scrum process really works out. So I agree with what you're saying, Colette. I think that hopefully we can put something in practice, which we all get to see how it really all works out, and we take it from there. So we just make the best use of it. So you know, as you say, adapt it, and we'll just work with it. Although we know what it is, and yeah, we'll work with the this new process that we'll get to witness. Because I mean, as you rightly say, I for one have never really done an agile type of project. I don't even know what it looks like. So a lot of the things which I would experience from an agile point of view would be new. Even the whole element of you know, a Scrum Master and all those things. So it'll be great to see what we can incorporate here, so we just get a feeling of it going forward. So yeah, let's make the best of what we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, Barry, what I wanted to say that you can also bring in is the way each stage is reported, right? Reported, because the tasks are, as I will say, are small, but if everyone can see how you need to report in the agile way, you know, in a very small or kind of waterfall concept like this, then you have a big picture. So that dashboard that you have, right, where you have all the members present. So let's say someone is designated to work on stage one, then you need to remind them on how, because in big projects you always need to go out. You don't just say you have done. The reporting happens on the board, such that if someone comes on the board, they can have a complete overview of where the project is without necessarily asking someone. So I think as the Scrum Master, I think those are the things that you have to point out, that if anyone who is responsible for stage one need to do, and then also this, when we are having sprints, how the reporting is done. Yeah, I think those are the other things that being able to use an agile tool and how to report in a project. I think that's important. And then things like articles that are important to the project, things like videos, or although they are already present in the GitHub that we have, in a normal big project, you don't have all of those things present, right? Those things are collected and then brought in, and then brought in as we go. So this is a bit simplified because every material is present. So what can be done is taking those links and bringing them on the board, and then if someone comes up across another interesting link, you bring that on. I think those are the new things that, apart from the technical side that people will be doing, you will then be able to drive that aspect of how the reporting should be done. And then this question of when is it done, right? I think that's a very important question. And what I just want to add here, that a stage is done, not necessarily when the person in charge has completed it, but it should be done when everyone has a very good and clear understanding of why the task has been carried the way it is. Because the key thing at the end of this is that when you finish, you should be able to discuss this project in a way that there is no iota of doubt on. You just say, okay, they just did it this way, but if they ask you, you can't explain. So that is the way I want to define done for every stage. And I don't know if something can be added here.
Yeah, you have just said the whole thing, because a definition of done comes from the product owner, and I want to believe that you are our product owner in this case. And I'm talking about Jira and reporting, because everybody will be doing their work on separate Amazon websites. You can come to our workspace in Jira and just report on the thing that you have done. You can write comments and write descriptions of what you have done so we can track it. If I can share my screen again.
Please do. Because that is the area which is new to everyone, and that is where you really need to help on how that is done. Maybe do a demo. So even if someone, people will be doing things individually. So even if you are doing, you can come and type and say, okay, you are doing this and things like that. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, so if we have this project, right? And if I open to the project, it is going to be empty, but we have like this one that is in to do, in progress, and testing, and then done. So if you have an issue, let me just create one issue. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah.
Okay, so I have this issue. Oh, why is it not showing?
My open issues, I think it's sure. But it's strange. Why is okay.
Yeah, so I have this issue, and if I'm working on it, if I'm working on this issue, it will have the status, if you can see, is to do. So if I start working on it, I can change it to in progress that I've started, and everybody else that comes to see would know that I've started working on the issue. If I open the issue, I should be able to add comments on it. I should be able to add comments on it. And if you can see, we'll not be talking about priority because it is not, everybody else will be working on the same thing. So this is what I mean by you can add comments, and if you face a difficulty, you can add, and then you can add someone, you can copy somebody. You can copy any of your team members so that they can be following up the issue with you. So this is what I mean by you can come here and basically just play around with the report what you have done on your personal AWS account.
Yeah.
And then when we can have these ones, your personal AWS account as subtasks to the main work. So when you have finished with the main work, with all the subtasks, when everybody else has finished with their subtasks and they are comfortable and they have, we have all agreed that the work is finished, we now can take it to done. And then it will be done. If all the subtasks are done, we can now take the main task to be done. And that is when we will be able to say that we have completed, is this stage 1A?
Yeah. So you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to add to that. Wait, first of all, from my understanding, like the main issue, like the one you wrote, I want to be done by this task by Monday, can be maybe stage 1. Then inside that, we can create sub tasks like stage 1A, stage 1B, stage 1C. Have I understood rightly?
Yes, we can create stage 1A, stage 1B, stage 1C, but it will still be the same thing, just assigned to different people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now to bring it to the project, and then also so that everyone participate in reporting, this is my suggestion I will have, Barry, and for others, please come in also if you have something to contribute. So we have stage 1A, right? Which maybe if it's taken, and then you have stage 1A. So for stage 1A, let's look at the subtasks. So everyone will be doing that on their private account. We can just, I'm thinking that what if we call, even if though it's stage 1A, everyone is doing it on their individual accounts. If we call those, when you are working in your individual account, what do we call those ones subtask, right? And then the main task will be the person that will implement in the main account. So subtask now is, so everyone then will be, so their subtask, although they are all the same, but we'll be expecting that everyone reports when they start stage 1A, right? So when you start stage 1A, you go you come into the dashboard, you report that I am starting stage 1A. And then if you are working on stage 1A and you have a problem, so we should move away from using, we will not use Telegram. So if you start working on stage 1A and you have a problem and you have a difficulty, then that is where, I don't know, that is where you comment, right? And then you address someone that I've started stage 1A, I'm having this difficulty, or I'm facing difficulty in this. And then if someone sees it and wants to reply on that message, they can reply on what they are doing. And then or if they're having a sprint now and there are comments you can take in. So when they start stage 1A, everyone will be doing stage 1A as subtask. And because you are doing a substack, we want to see you reporting on the platform on what you are doing, where you are, what difficulty you are having. And when you finish your subtask and you are comfortable, you move it to done. So that if someone comes to the board, they can see that, okay, yeah, the end started with this talk, with this subtask already that's finished. So that if everyone have done, you know, then it already means that it's done. And then the person in the main account, who is in the main account, he's the one that owns the main task, which here is stage 1A main, for example. So stage 1A main belongs to the person running who is going to configure on the main account. And then when he does it and puts it on done as well, that means it's complete. But then everyone will have stage 1A subtask, maybe Y for Yvonne. So Yvonne will own that task, and if she's having a problem, she will indicate. We'll have stage 1A P for Pride, right? So if Pride is running, so even though they are the same, but then you consider it as if it's a work that if you don't do, you are holding the group back. That's the way I think that we can maybe have that, and then everyone then knows that they are obliged, or they have that compulsory thing to do it. I don't know what you think about that, Barry, if that will help.
What happens with subtask and task on Jira is when you have a task assigned to you, you will see that it is you supposed to be working on this. I will share my screen again so we can see what I mean.
Apologies, we have taken more than 45 minutes, but please bear with me. I hope we are making progress on how this should flow. And if you are confused or if you don't know how we're doing this, please do indicate so that we have this structure and definition.
So if you can see, look at this one here. You see, I was the person that assigned the task and I assigned it to myself. And then this other person, I'll be reporting to this person. So where we have the subtask like this one, where we have the task like this one, we can create subtasks from there. And then when we create the subtask, we can always assign it to some other person.
Yeah.
We can assign it to some other person. And then that person, you find your name there. You find that you are the one working on that subtask. And then after every subtask under a particular task has finished, after we have taken it to done, we can now take it, we can now move the whole, the original task to done, meaning we are finished from that stage 1A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having a good view of how that will flow on Jira. And I don't know, still just on this flow and how the task will be assigned, any question or worry?
But I think the challenge for most people would be understanding the function of Jira and how it operates. Just looking at the Jira software or the application, for someone who has never used Jira might be a little bit complex. So I'm just wondering, how are we going to navigate that? Will Barry be always there to like get someone to move on if they get stuck, or how is this going to happen? And what means is she gonna use to give access to the projects to the various team members, right?
Good question.
I will be here 100% until I get my job as a Scrum Master. So, but within the time that I'm here, I'm happy to give everybody the hand they need to understand how Jira works. Myself, I have not perfected the website, but I think I've reached a certain level where I can teach someone who is new. So yes, what we will have to do is have our email addresses so that I can add you to the Jira platform where you can have access to when you want and how you want it.
So just our personal email is enough?
Yes, personal email is enough.
All right.
Yeah.
So Ban, are we putting that information in the main project page, or how is that going to?
If you put it in the project page, I'll be able to add everybody else.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I think Barry should also be included in the various teams, right? The Telegram group.
You should be a member of every team.
Yeah.
Yeah, she should be a member of every team.
That's correct.
So that any information that is shared on the team, she's able to see it also.
Mm-hmm. That's very correct, Yvonne. So regarding the email addresses, I know that when I created the form, I did. So I think everyone, how are we going to do that? I think if everyone in the in the group, how do you share it? If you share it, you can share to me directly. The reason I want to do is I want to collect that on an Excel sheet so that, and then Barry is able to, and then just have it on a document and share with Barry so that Barry can add all the members on the platform. And then I'll also indicate the members that belong to the different teams. So she would then create a project. When she creates a project, she would then be able to add members for that project. Or yeah, I don't know how you do it, Barry. Then you put members for that project. And then in each project, then what we'll do is it will just, I think, Barry, the other thing that you can then go ahead and do immediately is you can then go for each project. You can then already create task 1. And then for task 1, you can already create a subtask, and you can create subtask ending with, let's say, as I said, let's say stage, this is just a sample, but you can do it the best way that you think sounds best. So let's say you can say stage 1A, P, that which will mean that it belongs to Pride, and then you assign it to Pride, for example. So which will mean that when then you do that for every person in each project. So so stage 1A, let's say P, stage 1A, L, maybe for Lady T. So everyone receives stage 1A and you assign to them. And what that means is that they have to start on that task. And starting means once they start working or start practicing it on their private account, they can then change it to start. If they have issues, then they can indicate that they have issues. And then when they are done and they are complete, they'll change it to done. Yeah. So those are things that I think you can create and I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. And like Yvonne said, it will make complete sense if I'm added to all the groups.
Yes, sure.
When we are working on the projects, we cannot have every member who is not participating in that project on there. So if there are 2 projects, I will need the groups on each project. So I don't add somebody who is not participating in
yes, right. Yeah, no, this was the first meeting just to have this introduced. So I'll add you on all the groups, then I'll have the email of everyone on an Excel sheet and share with you, and then indicate who belongs to which group. Then you'll be able to then know how to create the stages. And I think if you have questions, we can work that also in the background. I mean, creating of those that I think everyone understands how this will flow. So if you have your email, you are invited to the board. And then I think when they're invited to the board, of course, they then have access to the platform, right? And then can see their task and then can go ahead and edit or do anything. So yeah, I go ahead again, Timothy. Yeah.
Hi, I was just trying to ask Barry, is there a preference for any email provider? Sometimes some applications work better with either Gmail or Yahoo or, you know.
No, I don't think there is a preference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Ban, you said we should send the emails directly to you, correct?
Yes,
All
please
right.
just send to me. I'll just collect that on the Excel sheet that we have for the project. Just put that another column for everyone, and then indicate the team they belong in, and then on the background, Barry will be able to create know how to, when she adds, you'll know who to assign who to which project, and then as well as assign the different tasks.
Didn't we have those in the survey forms, man?
Sorry?
The emails.
No, the survey I sent out.
Yes, didn't we have emails there? Just asking you.
I didn't ask. I didn't put the option for email. It was open, so I don't have that. It's not in the form. Yeah.
I just sent mine out across.
Great. I always prefer. I know, as Barry says, there's definitely no preference, but I know Gmail because of it's always have that ease of you know, you just have this maybe identity federation in the background that helps you sign in easily. Okay, right. So at least we've had an idea. I mean, and as usual, I think at least the basic of how this can be started is clear. And I think even if we are not going to, the other thing I asked when we were just starting was how was, you know, the first key thing was maybe call it stage 0 was for people to review the documentary, right? So maybe we can even start with stage 0 and then have subtasks for stage 0, and everyone can go ahead and indicate if they have reviewed the entire project, right? So the whole thing is, have you reviewed the entire project? Are you when I say review, it does not mean have you understood everything. It's just that this is just going to be like, okay, I've looked into the project, I've or I've done this, and then it can just be moved. That can be a good practice stage, right? We have a stage 0 for reviewing of the documentation, and everyone can then practice to see if they can move it from progress and then move it to done, and then make comments that are essential. And then, yeah, I think that can be stage 0 for all the project. And then stage 1 now comes with the real work, yeah. And then I think the other question is, as Timothy mentioned, on which account will be used. It will be decided on each group. And if for some reason a group has a challenge, just indicate to me, yeah. So each group can decide on, try to work out which account will be used. And the person who owns that account will have to create admin's account for everyone that is working on there. But if there is issues, or if that cannot be done, just let me know. Yeah. Okay. And Barry, any point again that you need to help get started? Is there anything that any question?
Yes, I will be asking everyone how comfortable they are to try this, because we don't want to put everybody in a situation where it's like we're compelling you to do something you don't feel comfortable to do.
Yeah, good question.
Lady T, I hail you, boss.
Now you be boss now.
No. I know be boss.
For me, I'm just curious and anxious to dive in and see what we can do. Just seeing how you manipulate going through the JIRA, it's interesting. And I've learned a lot in the past years on using new tools and all that. So I just think the secret is in practice, just attempting to work on it, and you will find your way through. So I'm hoping that we can. I'm ready and just curious to get through with the projects.
Okay.
Great.
Anyone else, please?
Yeah, I think Barry asked a very important question as to how comfortable we are with doing this. I think it's a good question, but I think comfort should not be the word here, because we are in a journey, and this journey has its challenges before we make it up there. And I think what we are doing now is another challenge for us to see how far we can go, right? To see how far we can push ourselves, to see how far we can actually put the little we have been learning into practice. I think every learning opportunity as we grow in this cloud journey is an opportunity for us to not just learn one thing, but to also build ourselves, right? So for me, it is part of who we are as WirfonCloud. It is what we should be doing. It is what we should encourage, and not see it as, a kind of a challenge that should make somebody shy away or drive somebody out of the house.
Yeah.
I think this environment is a very comfortable environment to learn. So
absolutely,
it's just encourages when you put people, not really putting people on the spot, when people are made, when you see every other person going forward, you are motivated to meet up. So I think the reporting part too is something that will push others to work if they are lazy. By the time you see other people are completed and done, you will be forced to do yours. So
for me, Barry, I think
let me put Ashley. I'll be back.
Okay.
I think the fact that we are already here, we can do anything because we decided to be here, right? We choose to be here. And the reason why we choose to be here is because we wanted to go forward. And what you are bringing here is a way forward. So for me, yeah, if we are here, we are ready. And for me, I'm ready, and I'm ready to learn anything. So.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, just to add to what Mr. Shea said, they say success is uncomfortable. So we cannot achieve anything if we stay in our comfort zone. And also to add that everybody in the team is not at the same level in terms of knowledge, the depth of knowledge. Just going through previewing my project serverless, I discovered that it has a lot to do with coding. And in fact, I barely know anything about coding. So it's just to make us aware that it's true that some of us will really learn much from others who are ahead of us. And those who are ahead should also be patient to carry us along. So that's just what I have to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Lady T, near you.
Yeah, just to add, echoing what Lady T said as well as she said, practically there's a point where I also have things on my plate, and I was like, okay, I'll not join the project for now. And the next thing is, when would they be time? Because you would see when you are done with something else, another thing comes. And I said, okay, let me just go with the flow, that people cannot just be highly motivated like that and doing a project and I'm lagging behind, that I have to join the show. So yeah, I'm pretty much in for it.
Okay.
Like, I want to say that
one of you. Sorry. Okay, good. That was a tough one. Yeah, that's okay now, Harriet. Go ahead.
Sorry for that.
Still coming.
I think devices.
Yeah, I think Elvis, maybe you need to move a bit away or reduce your. I think it will help. I think it's coinciding with Elvis. Actually, although it's showing two Harriet, one is Elvis. I know them very well. The other one is Harriet. Okay. So yeah, Harriet, I think great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you people for this opportunity, because it is a rare opportunity to find. I'm in so many groups studying cloud, and I want to say that I'll proudly say that Wirfon is a unique group, and I've learned so much from WirfonCloud. And since I'm here at this moment doing this project, it is an opportunity for me to learn. So I'm very comfortable with it. They say learning is not does not kill anybody. Once you want to learn something, it will not kill you. It is a good process, and I'm very ready, and I'll give in my all to see that I get through it. Thank you, Barry and WirfonCloud.
Great.
Barry, I'm not comfortable.
Tell us, Barry.
just pulling your leg again. Just to echo everybody, I think it's like someone said, there is nothing like comfortable or not comfortable. So it's a learning. We've all decided to take this on. So whatever the challenges are, I guess we're willing to face them. So, and again, it's an added value coming from your end, in that we get to see how it functions in the real world, even if we are not into app development or whatever. But again, that's the real world that we will be meeting. So it's I guess it can be a plus on our CVs also, that we did our work using the Scrum way of working. So why not? Thank you so much, and looking forward to it.
Right.
I think we've heard from everyone else, but Pride.
And Aqua, Bright and Aqua.
I didn't realize you were polling opinions. I just felt like, no, if you're not comfortable, then you had to voice it. But you know, even if we dive in the pits of hell, I'm game. So I don't have the luxury to be comfortable or not. So it's I'm game. I'm game.
All right.
Great.
Mr. Ako, your turn, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a great evening. Nothing further to add from what we have here. I think it's great that we're embarked upon this. So I hope it's the sign of something good to come. So look forward to it. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I will just say something about this little exercise we've just done. This is already a Scrum way of working. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody needs to participate. Everybody has to say something so we can know that we're making progress. And as a disclaimer, I've never done this before. I'm just going to be putting what I have learned from other platforms into practice here. So we will all bear with me that we are going to make so many mistakes along the way, and hopefully we are going to correct them as a team, and nobody is going to say that, oh, it was Colette that brought this idea and she said we are going to do it this way. All of us are going to learn along the way. Thank you.
Well, you could have fooled me. I didn't think this was your first time doing this, but you're doing a great job. I mean, it's very assuring, very assuring. Believe me, you could have fooled me if you had not confessed.
But I've had a few sessions with my other classmates where we just try to facilitate events and talk about daily things. Basically, the things that everybody's supposed to do. Stop shaking your head, Yawan.
Because you're underestimate yourself. That's why I'm shaking my head. Those are so.
So basically, I'm taking this as a huge challenge, and I hope we can work it through. And most of the ideas we've shared here have just come impromptu. I didn't plan for them. I didn't see them coming. And that is the beauty about using the agile way of working. At the end of the day, we need to do what is best and what works best for us. So, so sorry we have taken so much of your time. I think it's going to be double the time if taken.
Right.
But again, Barry, the whole point, as you mentioned last time, is everyone takes accountability, right? So.
Yes, exactly. We are going to be taking accountabilities for our mistakes and for our progress.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's been a great evening, and I think we've been able to find structure, which was key. And I think, Barry, I don't know how much I can keep appreciating you to come in at this moment. It's just so timely. And this exercise, I'm sure if everyone takes it, I'm happy also this question you asked, right? The commitment that everyone has demonstrated says a lot. So I have no doubt that this is going to end up being success in the way everyone is going to work. So I think basically, yeah, it is really, really a great startup. So yeah, I think, yeah, apologies for the time, but I'm sure everyone agrees it was worth it. So I'm going to work with Barry on the background to see how we can start up, and then I try to bring in questions. So as I understand, Barry says I'm product owner, so I'll definitely be trying to give you more input. And then the developer team is everyone in each group, and then you have the Scrum Master, who is Barry here, who will be trying to ensure that if there are any roadblocks or things to address, she will actually be the one driving or trying to see why are we not, that lack of progress. So it's a learning process, and I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful journey. I'm really motivated for it as well. Yeah. All right, let's leave it here, and apologies for the long meeting. The decision of how I think as we go back, right, the decision of how the sprint will be run, how many days, please try to work that out on the separate groups as a group. So maybe you decide every 2 days or every 3 days. I mean, because even though everyone will have sub-tasks to report on, but there will be that necessary reporting of maybe 2-3 days. You have 10-15 minutes discussion on what is happening, 10, 15 minutes, not too long, because maximum, Barry, I think it's 15 minutes, right?
Yes.
What would you recommend? Yes. So after 2 or 3 days, have a short meeting, Zoom, 15 minutes. Where is everyone? What's going on? Pam, once you finish, that should be happening. So that's the next stage, but please work that out on the different groups. Yeah, and again, everyone owning the project. So not looking that one person should be the one doing that. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Let's leave it here. In case of questions, share in the main forum or concerns, and then in the separate group, when you have individual program questions, you can share in your individual groups. All right. Let's leave it here and have a nice evening, everyone, and a nice day, afternoon for you.
Okay, thank you all.
very
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Tracy, please wait, oh, wait a minute.
Sure. I have to talk with my Scrum Master to see.
Well,
Scrum
Let me
Scrum
see.
mistress.